You are welcome to another episode of HN What's Your Say? The leading listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. In the government's bid to lock up R. Kelly, multiple witnesses way beyond the acceptable number were paraded before the trial court, and so much information was made available to the jurors to decide upon. However, the already prejudicial jurors appeared to pick out only the claims these women had against R. Kelly, which included multiple allegations of physical and psychological abuse whose proof they could not provide, and ignored the parts where the same women unknowingly confessed to have lied on multiple occasions. Having exposed their character of deceit unknowingly, R. Kelly accusers have found themselves in a very difficult spot, and only protected by the impunity of government, which is now a tool used to protect criminals and to pass illegal agendas. What we are learning from the case against R. Kelly is that this government can now lock up anybody they wish to, regardless of whether they have committed crime or not. And if the person has committed any misdemeanors, the government can base on these to assume charges that simply do not exist and lock the person up for life. We have also come to understand that this our government we fund with taxpayers' money has the machinery to segregate between races, and target a particular group of people, locking many of them up as a means to disempower them and maintain white supremacy. Returning to the revelations that were made through the multiple witness testimonies, the New York trial transcript does indicate a confession of deceit by government principal witness Azriel Clary, where she did mention that she lied to R. Kelly she was 18 when she first met him. And being 17 and a half as she now alleges, it was difficult for R. Kelly to tell that she could have been underage. The fact that her own parents had also endorsed the relationship even made it harder for him to suspect anything. But why was this confession ignored by the jurors and the judge Ann Donnelly, whose job was to look out for such information that would aid in proper decision-making during verdict deliberations? The jurors were already prejudiced, having watched the surviving R. Kelly documentary that was financed and promoted by Sony itself in the umbrella of the Mute R. Kelly campaign, and enforced by the government, which made sure to indict anyone that tried to stop its airing. In this state, there was no way the court would have had eyes and ears to see and hear the witness confessions, and even if they did, they were too compromised to care. Meanwhile, this was not the first time the government principal witness had confessed to this malicious act of deceit. During the heavily contested interview with Gayle King held at the Trump Towers, where Azriel appeared together with her co-wife Joycelyn Savage, she did say exactly the same thing. And to this she added that her parents had literally deployed her to trap R. Kelly into a web of blackmail, asking her to seduce him and make sure she takes as many compromising pictures and videos as she could in case they needed to use them to blackmail him.
So, when I first met Robert, my parents told me to lie about my age. So when I met him, he thought that I was 18. On top of that, when I was 17, my parents were actually making me, trying to get me to take photos with him, take sexual videos with him, all kinds of stuff.
And this could explain why the New York judge and jury deliberately ignored this confession that solidly appears in the trial transcript. They probably knew that acknowledging anything that appeared in the Gayle King interview with these two women was going to justify every other thing that was said by these two co-wives of R. Kelly, and the defense would finally have the leverage they need to win the case. There is no way Azriel could have been right on only one thing throughout the interview and wrong about everything else. In fact, the whole world now knows that the version of her story during this CBS Chicago show was the truthful one before she got influenced with illegally obtained emails and phone call records leaked by the BOP. All factors constant though, what remains is the fact that Azriel Clary lied to R. Kelly that she was 18, and that her parents did the same by supporting their relationship even if they knew she was not yet 18. And therefore the government principal witness, who has a history of telling lies to achieve her sinister goals, should not have been believed when she suddenly flipped and joined the government prosecution camp to testify against R. Kelly. Her credibility was already compromised, considering she had the audacity to lie when influenced by her parents. There was nothing to stop her from doing the same now that her very same parents are after R. Kelly for his money. To see the government connive with the Bureau of Prison and the courts compromise their role of being the watchdog to support this Clary family in achieving their sinister goals is rather heartbreaking. Our laws and legal standards have been abandoned to satisfy one single family, and of course their Sony counterparts who are major beneficiaries from R. Kelly's imprisonment, all on the expense of the American people who pay their tax dollars expecting a just system for all. According to Anthony, it was clear from the beginning that Azriel's responses during the Gayle King interview, which she now trashes, were the real truth, and everything else that followed was part of the government's conspiracy to see R. Kelly behind bars for the rest of his life. Fond of lying on the instruction of her parents, there is no way we can believe that she did not decide to do this again so they could gain hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitutions, especially after gaining access to Kelly's emails and calls that revealed Joycelyn Savage was his favorite and not her. This gave her the perfect motive of revenge to punish the only man she loved that had eventually disappointed her. Just why would the court believe the testimony made by such a disgruntled witness? What happened to the element of witness credibility which has been the standard when conducting legal procedures all over the world? How can our country be sold so short as to allow such a non-credible witness that is most likely to lie on the stand? The courts need to be checked, and surely, we cannot wait to learn what the appeal court decides about this matter. R. Kelly is in prison over lies and greed. Lies told by his accusers and greed by his record company Sony, which has for decades exploited artists in this country. The possible killers of Michael Jackson and the corporation that is responsible for prematurely ending the careers of many musical talents all over the world. According to Erica, Judge Ann Donnelly needs to be disbarred from the role of a district judge. She seemed to selectively ignore many crucial things in the case against R. Kelly. She ignored the actions of the BOP, Tasha K, and the women who lied in court and to R. Kelly about their age. The government, together with the Justice Department, failed at their responsibilities and broke numerous laws while pursuing R. Kelly. A well-seasoned judge cannot overlook the element of witness credibility, which should be a prerequisite before one enters the courthouse as a witness. All the women who testified against R. Kelly had credibility issues and should never have been allowed to take the stand with all the records of telling lies that followed them. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.